There are finally enough of these films to do a proper ranking, so that's what I'm gonna do today. What's up guys, my name is Ryan, welcome to my channel if you are new here. So today I'm going to be ranking all 3 Knives Out movies in honor of the recently released third film, Wake Up Dead Man. The Knives Out franchise is one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. I absolutely love mysteries. They're one of my favorite things in the world. I just think they are so much fun. It's fun to try and figure out who did it or what happened. They're fun logic puzzles. I think the use of the art of misdirection and deception is so cool. And I think mysteries are a very interesting look at how our human minds work and how we assume some things, and you know how characters can say things. We assume they mean one thing but they mean something different, or they can show us something that's right in front of our faces but we completely miss it. I love the little mind games that they play like that, and just the little hints that after the reveal at the end you're like, oh, I should have gotten that. I should have been able to figure that part out. I think watching mysteries is a very fun way to train your brain to be more observant and to exercise your mind. And the Knives Out franchise has and does all of that I just mentioned, and it does it so well. I really enjoy all 3 of these films, so let's jump in and start ranking them. And don't worry, I won't be spoiling anything, at least nothing major. In last place for me is going to be Wake Up Dead Man, the most recent one. Now, just because something is in last place doesn't mean it's bad. This is definitely not a bad film. I really like this film. I just think it's the weakest of the 3. It is another fantastic, well-crafted, amazing Knives Out Benoit Blanc mystery. It has one of the most fun casts for a movie, I think, ever. And our lead character, played by Josh O'Connor, is the standout. I really liked his character. He's so likable, he's so kind, and I just love how you see throughout the film his desire to help people. I love him and Daniel Craig's chemistry and how they work on this case together. And I feel that this movie communicates with Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc and Josh O'Connor's character that we can disagree, like we can have strong stances on our beliefs. You know, Josh O'Connor's character is this young priest who believes in God and miracles, and Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc is this strong atheist who thinks Christianity and faith is irrational and illogical, but they work together to solve this case, and I think they come to respect each other and build a friendship throughout investigating this seemingly impossible crime. I really liked how this movie communicated that although we can have very different worldviews and be very strong in what we believe, we can still love and respect each other and be friendly with each other. I love how Rian Johnson made this a locked door mystery or an impossible crime. I love how this film references multiple classic popular locked room murder mystery novels, most notably The Hollow Man by John Dixon Carr, which I actually got for my birthday. I'm so excited to start reading that book. The investigation and the reveal, the twists and the turns, it's all so well done. The reveal at the end blew my mind. It's another really good mystery, but I did have some issues. Like I said, this is probably one of the most fun casts for a movie ever assembled, but I felt like a lot of the characters and actors were a bit underutilized. I felt like we could have gotten a bit more screen time from them and gotten to know and understand the characters a bit more. The film also feels very bombarded at points. Like, it feels like at points in the film we're pausing to really do kind of in-your-face commentary on like politics and religion and faith, which wasn't always that enjoyable. And I know the first 2 films had some politics and stuff in there, but it felt like the right amount. It didn't feel like very in-your-face about it or very overwhelming, but there's parts of this film where it has that kind of stuff, and it can feel pretty overwhelming and not very enjoyable. The film also had way more Christianity in it than I was expecting, and some of it I thought was very accurate, and they actually ended up portraying Christianity much better than I thought they would with a decent amount of the film, particularly with most of what we see from Josh O'Connor's character. But then there's also some parts where I felt like they weren't portraying Christianity very accurately, and it felt kind of finger-pointy at conservative Christians. And I know it's Hollywood, this film isn't being made by Christians. Why should I expect Christianity to be portrayed 100% accurately and have completely sound theology? Fair argument, but as a Bible-believing, living, Christ-following Christian, it still did kind of irk me to a certain degree when I felt like Christianity wasn't being portrayed properly, and I feel like there's parts of this film that might give non-believers the wrong idea about Christianity and who Jesus is and what he teaches. When the film's main focus is the mystery and the investigation, it is so much fun, it's so enjoyable, but the parts where it's commentating on politics and religion, and when it like pauses the mystery to do that kind of stuff, it really wasn't very enjoyable. But like I said, definitely not a bad film. This is still another great Knives Out mystery. Our runner-up is going to be Glass Onion, and I really had trouble deciding which one I liked better, Wake Up Dead Man or Glass Onion, and that's partly why this video took much longer to come out than I originally said it would in my Wake Up Dead Man review, because I had to take the time to watch both films again to really decide which one I liked better. I think I like Glass Onion a bit better, and I think the main reason for that is because I just think it's more consistent with its enjoyability. Wake Up Dead Man's mystery is much more interesting and intriguing and complex, and just figuring out what happened in the investigation is a lot more fun. Well, like I said, when they're not doing that stuff, it's not as enjoyable. Glass Onion, I feel, is much more enjoyable all throughout. Like, as a film and as a story, I just think Glass Onion is much more enjoyable and consistently entertaining. Of course, it's got another great ensemble cast. It's another really fun mystery. This, I think, is probably the most funny of the three films. And that's not just with its humor, but also, like, just character moments and just the interactions between the characters are just really funny when I feel like they're not even trying to be. Like, in the reveal at the end, like, the way Blanc speaks and how he gets really ticked at the end, that's all I'll say. And he just starts going off at the end, and it's just so much fun and pretty funny to watch Daniel Craig do the reveal in this movie. And what's really impressive is that my favorite scene in a murder mystery is usually the reveal at the end, when everything comes together and we find out what everything meant and all the puzzle pieces come together. But with this film, my favorite scene actually comes after the reveal. I was surprised that they were able to make a murder mystery film where my favorite scene wasn't the reveal, but what comes directly after it. I'm not gonna spoil, but the final, like, 10-15 minutes of the film, I love it. I don't know how many times I've gone on YouTube and watched the ending of this movie. It's fantastic. However, I do have a couple small issues with the film. One is that the mystery is a bit simpler. There's not as much to it, and when the reveal happens, it's not as complex as the other two films like I like. Not bad, definitely, but it just wasn't as, like, detailed as the other two films. And it also bugs me a bit that the story isn't completely linear. Now, I know that is usually what happens with mystery films like this. There are moments where we flash back and maybe see a different character's perspective on things, and we figure out something, but here, that's like half the movie. Minimal spoilers, I guess, but like halfway through the film is when the murder takes place. That's another real quick thing. It takes a bit to get going and for the murder to happen and to get into it, but then shortly after the murder takes place, we flash back to the beginning of the film and we see this whole different perspective and find out something else was going on the entire time. And then it also starts to feel like when that happens, we just start rushing through it a bit, and the pacing just picks up a bit quicker. The pacing of this film feels a bit off to me. Once again, not a big criticism. It didn't bother me all that much. It's not something horrible. But whenever I watch this film, I can't help but feeling like maybe if the storytelling was a bit more linear and half the film wasn't flashing back and going through the whole movie again, just showing us a different perspective, maybe it would have been better. But like I said, not bad. This is still a very entertaining murder mystery. But coming in first place, of course, is the first one, Knives Out. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't think a perfect movie exists, but there are films that get very, very close, and Knives Out is one of those films. I think it just has pretty much everything that makes for a great movie and a great murder mystery. This film is just so incredibly consistently entertaining. Pretty much all the actors, every character gets a moment to shine. They all pop and stand out in some way, especially Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc. I love his introduction in this movie and getting to meet his character for the first time. Benoit Blanc is one of my favorite fictional characters. And of course, our lead in this film, played by the wonderful Ana de Armas, gives a phenomenal performance. Her character is so sweet and likable, and you really care about seeing what happens to her character throughout this movie. The investigation is so much fun. All the little details in this film are insane. Like, the first 10 times I watched this film, I noticed one different little clue or detail every single time. The dialogue here is just fantastic. It's so much fun to see these characters talk and interact and just listen to them and watch them. And the reveal at the end is crazy. It blew my mind when I saw this in theaters for the first time. My jaw was like on the floor. The film is very hilarious, and all the twists and turns and reveals. It feels like there's just never a dull moment with this film. Every time I watch this film, I have such a fun time with it. Even though I know everything that's gonna happen, I know the reveal and everything, it is still so much fun to go back and watch. And that's one of the marks of a great mystery, when the journey and the investigation, the journey to get to the reveal at the end, is just as great and entertaining as the reveal. I love the tone. I just love pretty much everything about this film. I have pretty much all of this movie memorized. I always know what scene is coming next. Every scene, every line, I look forward to watching again. I love how I feel this film manages to incorporate a classic story of good versus evil. I love how this film communicates that good wins in the end, and that being a good person and being honest and telling the truth is the way to go. It's the right thing to do. I love what my friend Josh said about this film. He said that Knives Out just feels like a modern classic. This truly does feel like a very special film. It feels like on just another level than the other two films. Rian Johnson led on a flippin' high note with this film. I don't know if he'll ever be able to top this one. Regardless, I still want a whole bunch more of these Knives Out Benoit Blanc mysteries. I already can't wait to see a fourth movie. I'm so glad Rian Johnson, Daniel Craig want to and plan to make more of these. I love this movie. I love this franchise. But there you have it. That is my ranking of all 3 Knives Out movies. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments what your ranking of the Knives Out films is, and also tell me why you would rank the films the way you do. I would love to talk with y'all about this amazing franchise in the comments down below. Click right here to subscribe if you enjoy my content. Right here is my review for Wake Up Dead Man if you want to know my more in-depth thoughts on the film, and I also have reviewed the other 2 films, Knives Out and Glass Onion. I have those reviews on my channel if you want to go check them out. And right here is a playlist of all the films that have come out this year that me and my friends have reviewed. Hopefully you can find another video on my channel to enjoy. And with that, I hope y'all have a blessed one, guys. I'll see y'all in the next video.